All right, I guess let's start from the beginning. The beginning of the song, it sort of opens up sort of this, the day is unfolding across the world. This is sort of just an introduction to the piece, and it sort of highlights diversity across the world, and isn't really the most meaningful part of the song. So we'll skip ahead then into the Talking Heads portion of the piece. It's probably the first verse. This whole section is dominated by the media's role in shaping the perception of the people, of the lay person. I'd like to bring to the point is Thomas de Zengotita, in his work, mediated how the media shapes your world and the way you live in it. He discusses this virtual revolution in which the movement on the part of the people, no longer are they spectators, but they want to become the place of celebrities. We see this in reality TV shows such as Survivor, Fear Factor, these types of things, where people are no longer content with being spectators. They want to become the celebrity themselves, and this has sort of been perpetuated by the media and by this ever-expanding media presence. One of the points he comes up with is this sort of event performance, and his example is the death of Princess Diana. Here were thousands and thousands of people across Great Britain who, for the longest of time, maybe didn't take into account Princess Diana's work as much, and all of a sudden they're mourning in such a fashion. There's like an entire week devoted to, hey world, look at what we're going through. You guys should take part in this mourning also. And what he says is this is sort of method acting, that the people are acting to get something across, to get a point across, and in this case it was for the Queen to come out and share her experience, to share her feelings about the subject. I guess going back into the song, I mentioned Russia and China and the media's sort of role in their perception, especially with Russia. We've got this case where I think at the time I wrote the song, the South Ossetia War was just finishing up, and how there's such a low media coverage on such an issue that could have been a lot more important on a global scale. This is Russia, the former Soviet Union, coming in and essentially taking over a province of a different country, and once again exerting their force. This is Russia showing, hey, we're back, we're in here again to stay. And the media didn't play that up as much as perhaps they should have, and those that were played were soft rebukes. And further on in the song, we get to sort of this confusion over Iraq and Iran. Even though the media is so prevalent and stuff, we still see sort of this irony that the lay person, there's a lot of people that don't know where Iraq and Iran are, why their significance in the whole global scheme of things, and sort of this idea that the people don't know the difference between, Al-Qaeda or the Taliban from Afghanistan, and how perhaps the people aren't listening enough to the media, or perhaps they're not doing enough critical thinking in what they do. Next, I wanted to discuss the rap portion of the song. We've got here a very dense section of the song. There's a lot going on here. But first I'm going to start right at the beginning with the line, "Million die from philanthropy." This line is about global institutions doing what they see as what's best for the greater good, but in the end, on the grassroots level, it's not doing the best for those countries. I bring up Jamaica. We watched the video on Jamaica in class, and here we had IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and they were handing out structural adjustment loans to Jamaica. Jamaica would have to do something in order, they would have to change a fundamental part of their government system, their economy, in order to get money from IMF and World Bank. But what we saw is they got the money, they made a freer market, so there's a lot of more global competition here, and at the bottom level there were farmers and tradesmen trying to make a living, and here comes goods from the United States mainly and around the world that were a lot cheaper to send into Jamaica than the Jamaicans themselves could make it for, and all of a sudden Jamaicans were, the consumer Jamaicans were fine. They saw that these goods are cheaper, we save more money. But on the other hand, there are Jamaicans who are producing things, and all of a sudden they aren't making any money. Their jobs aren't getting them anything. They're not bringing in anything. And in 1985, actually, there was petroleum prices had risen in Jamaica, and because the people didn't have jobs, they couldn't make a living on agriculture. There were riots in Jamaica, and Jamaica had to look at what was going on, and it turns out that the World Bank and IMF and those people that had lent the money and had forced them to change their competitive ways, or forced them to become a free market and become competitive on a global market,